This is the second episode of our Design Dilemma series, where I'll be responding to some of your submissions on design and decorating challenges. I get design questions all the time from people all around the world, and unfortunately, I can't respond to them all. That is why I've created this series so I can share these dilemmas as practical and accessible advice that everyone can learn from. This week, we've selected 6 very interesting submissions, from creating an entryway when the front door opens up to a kitchen, decorating a small open plan area, all the way to laying out a challenging studio apartment. We've partnered with Fiverr on this video, where I'll be working with freelance designers who have created renderings to showcase the solutions we've come up with for these spaces. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our first submission is from Anastasia in Melbourne, Australia. Anastasia just moved into a new 2-bedroom apartment and was unsure about the best way to organize her living room as it is relatively small. Specifically, she was unsure about how she could separate the dining and living areas and how she could best utilize the corner space where her chair currently is. She was also wondering if she should add curtains, as while she loves the large windows, they feel a bit exposed. She also mentioned that she loves having her dining table next to the window and was happy to change her furniture. For this project, we worked with TWJ Interior on Fiverr and gave them a complete brief. After looking at the images Anastasia had submitted, I thought the best thing to do first was rotate the rug 90 degrees so it properly grounded the sofa and coffee table and created a border with the dining area. With her current setup, it looked a bit odd as the sofa was not fully on the rug and the rug also extended all the way to the dining area, so there was no clear separation between the two spaces. The corner space was really nice but felt like it was lacking a bit of height. I'd personally add a floor lamp, one with direct light like a reading lamp, not only as a functional piece, but also to add in variation and visual interest. For the curtains, I see that there are already 2 layers of roller blinds, sheer and blockout. I don't think it's necessary to add curtains, although they could improve the look by adding some texture and softness to the space. There also seems to be some kind of pelmet already built in above the window, so that will be perfect for installing ceiling-mounted curtains that extends wall to wall. Since Anastasia was open to changing furniture, I also thought that a sofa with legs like this Vilmar 3-seater sofa would be a good idea. Or if she wanted a sofa that went all the way to the ground like what she currently has, I'll suggest an open-ended sofa like the Hey Max modular sofa or similar one like this one from Castlery. A slightly larger pendant would also work wonders, something like this New Works pendant lamp that looks like a little cloud, or this petite feature pendant lamp with this thin organic fiberglass structure. Adding organic shapes like these would add a dramatic impact to the space. Adding an artwork or 2 above the couch and dining table wall would also be a good idea. And also to find a hidden spot for the plastic tubs. They make the space look quite cluttered at the moment. I sent this brief to TWJ Interiors, and here's the final render of the space. TWJ Interior went to so much trouble with details for these. Notice my YouTube video on the laptop. Such a nice touch. Overall, I think that these renders turned out really nice. The room feels much lighter and airier and now has a clear separation between dining and lounge areas. The addition of a storage ottoman is a nice touch to store bulky items, but also for relaxation to put your feet up. The reason why I opted for an open-end sofa here is because it allows for a larger seating surface area, but also makes the space feel more open. The pendant is now a show-stopping piece that gives the room a wow factor, and the addition of sheer curtains adds warmth to the space, along with their artworks, throw blankets, and pillows. Our next submission is from Carol in Chicago. She wanted my opinion on how one could create an entryway or even creating an entryway is possible when many apartments in her area have a front door that opens immediately onto the kitchen. She was worried that sitting and taking off shoes would be too awkward in a space meant for food preparation. For this project, I drew up 2 floor plan scenarios from the very beginning, because I wasn't sure what the other half of the room looked like from her images. I wasn't sure if there was a doorway opposite the window or another wall. Regardless, adding in an entryway would definitely be possible for Carol, as there's plenty of wall space around the doorway. The main idea is to not use bulky furniture and to use closed storage to store the shoes so they won't be left out in the open. Something like the IKEA Trones hung on the wall would be nice, or perhaps the stall, as that is also very slim. This would give Carol plenty of storage space and also a surface to dump her everyday carry. I also thought that since Carol is based in Chicago, it would be a good idea to add a hook or 2 for hanging coats. I worked with Ria on Fiverr on this one and gave her a complete brief. All the renders turned out really well, showcasing a highly functional entryway setup. Ria also came up with an alternative for each scenario, which I really liked. My idea for scenario 1 was to put the IKEA Trones or stall beside the door. It has quite a slim profile, so it will be low-key in the kitchen. The hooks would go beside the door near the radiator, and then the radiator will be covered and transformed into a bench. Covering the radiator is optional as it is quite tricky to execute but would also blend really nicely into the room. The alternative idea for scenario 1 that Ria came up with was to add a frameless mirror next to the door and an Artex stool in front of it. I think this is a great use of space, but requires a larger budget to execute the frameless mirror properly, and the design will lean much more into the contemporary side. My idea for scenario 2 was to put the IKEA throwness or stall on the wall opposite the window. The hooks would go on the wall to the left to the door, and I would add a stool to the side of the hooks. Something like the Artex stool would be perfect for this, or the IKEA keyrail as a budget alternative. A mirror above the shoe cabinet will also be really nice for a quick checkup, and also bounce the natural light from the window. With this scenario, I'll encourage you to move the stall and the mirror slightly away from the corner so it'll be in line with the left window. Ria's other idea for scenario 2 was to add a bench next to the door with coat hooks above and the stall unit on the same wall next to the bench. I think this can work really well, but I'll watch out for the thickness of the mirror frame and account for the swing open of the shoe cabinet. As you can see, the key to a successful entryway in a narrow kitchen is to use lightweight furniture, not your typical heavy storage units or open style benches. These won't feel too cluttered, and having shoes visible in the kitchen is also not a pleasant sight. You can actually get really good designs and renderings produced with just a couple $100s on Fiverr, which in the past will have cost thousands of dollars if not more. This is a really great resource if you're looking to design your home or simply need someone to translate your ideas into drawings before spending a significant amount of money on builders and materials. With Fiverr, you also get access to hundreds of thousands of incredible creatives from all over the world at your fingertips. Build a website, logo design, social media, and many more services that you can choose from. I've also left a special link in the description box and code Reynard10, which you can use at checkout to get 10% off your Fiverr purchase. You can also check out the links to the designers I work with in this video down in the description box below. Our next submission is from Cherry in Singapore. She has a small, long, and narrow living room and was looking for ideas on how to style the space with a piano rather than a television. She wanted her living room to have a cozy vibes and also noted that leaving the balcony accessible from the living area was a priority. For this project, we worked with TWJ Interior. I gave them full creative freedom and then provided feedback on their draft. I thought the TWJ Interior did a really good job here. I really like how they added built-in custom cabinetry around the piano with a sofa opposite to make the space feel like it has a typical living room layout without a TV needing to be there. However, as the joinery was so large, covering up 1/5 of the window, and since that was the only window for the whole space, I thought that the upper shelves should be shortened and end around 10 inches before the wall, and that the partition should be removed so the whole window is visible and the curtains could extend all the way to the wall. Here's the final revision. Overall, I thought that adding floor-to-ceiling curtains from wall to wall made the room feel so much more spacious and appear taller. They also allowed for much more natural light to enter the space, which is crucial as there's only one window for the whole open plan area. I'll advise going for a free-flowing track so the curtains can be stacked all the way to one side if needed. I also thought there was quite a bit of flexibility, as the artwork above the piano could be replaced with a TV down the line if needed. Covering the AC and integrating it with a custom joinery is also a nice touch, allowing for plenty of storage space and looks much nicer. Changing to vinyl or hybrid flooring would also warm up the space, but it could be a costly addition, so it really depends on what Cherry's priorities are. Our next submission is from Xiao in Munich, Germany. He recently moved into a studio apartment and was having trouble finding a good layout for it. Xiao was unsure how to arrange his desk, bed, wardrobe, shelves, sofa, and TV, as his studio was really weirdly shaped. Placing the sofa near the window corner seemed like a solution, but then the sofa was at a weird angle and the distance between the sofa and TV was too far. Xiao also wanted his sleeping area to be more closed off. I worked with Ria on this one, giving her creative freedom. I then provided feedback for the draft. I liked the initial idea that Ria gave me with an open shelving to divide the sleeping area, but decided to modify the divider for the bed to make it more streamlined and functional. I came up with two alternatives. The first one was to use open storage like the IKEA Alvarli, where you can store additional clothes, shoes, and use the surface to dump everyday carry and baskets to store extra stuff. It is a bit bulkier, but I think that it's a small price to pay if there's a need for more storage space. The Alvarli is also highly configurable, so you can choose different components like shelf, drawer, or hanger to better accommodate your needs. The other option was to use a half-wall divider with glass or window on the upper half like these Parisian-inspired room dividers. This will divide the sleeping area quite nicely, and if you went for one with a thicker base, there will be a functional surface to dump everyday carry and storage underneath for shoes. Option 2 is definitely the clearest in terms of dividing the various zones in the room, and also creates a very clear entryway, which is quite rare in a studio apartment. In either option, I'll still keep a wardrobe by the door, but would advise to get a closed one with sliding doors so it doesn't clash with the main door. Having the sofa in the middle makes so much sense to divide the TV and living area from the desk or work area. I'd advise against a bulky sofa and opt for a lightweight sofa with legs. The storage behind the sofa is optional, depending on how much space Xiao would have left or if they required more storage. Also, having the work desk offset slightly from the window makes sense. Xiao would not be staring directly outside but still have easy access to look out the window to rest the eyes. When sunlight directly hits, there's always the option to partially close the curtains to avoid the intense glare. Zach from Halifax, Canada needed help with creating a separate office space in his one-bedroom apartment. He and his partner were preparing to move into a new one-bedroom unit and needed the main open area beside the kitchen to serve 3 functions: living room, dining space, and an office space, as they didn't want to use the bedroom as an office. They wanted some sort of division between the office and the rest of the space. I worked with Tan Tung on this one and gave him creative freedom. I then provided feedback on the draft. Admittedly, this layout Tan came up with is quite TV focused, but I think it's a good use of space. The original Kallax TV stand was too tall and blocked a good amount of the view, so changing it to a shorter one like the Besta and with closed storage was a better option to hide the clutter. This wouldn't really obstruct the view as it sits lower than the wall outside the balcony. Swapping the TV for something like the Samsung Serif, either on a stand tucked into the corner or just on the same shelf like the Besta, can make it look less like a TV-oriented room. Having the drawer stand and the gate leg table on the other side makes sense as it will allow for both an extra surface for coffee items and also a dining table that can open up to 4 when entertaining. I'll look into getting either foldable chairs or stackable chairs to accompany this. The rendering itself is really nice, with a lot of attention to detail. I'll, however, reduce the amount of decor and knickknacks out on display as it looks quite busy as is. Adding a portable room divider behind the sofa for work calls is a good solution to divide the 2 spaces when needed. Konstantin from Estonia needed some help with the empty white wall behind his couch in the living room. They already had a beige sofa, laminate wood flooring, shelves, dining table, and TV stand made from oak, as well as a huge aquarium and terrarium for their reptiles. They wanted to take risks with other colors outside of brown and beige, but cannot decide on what to do. I ended up just giving Konstantin some advice instead of doing renders as their issue was a quick fix. I saw quite a few reds and emerald green in their space, so I figured that this may be the color they like. If that is the case, I would advise to add some artworks that tie in those colors. Something like these 2 would work really well in the space. Of course, there's probably better options out there, so I encourage you to shop around. Finishing them off with an oak frame will tie in well with the rest of the timber. I also thought that a cushion or 2 would be nice as well. Maybe something with a pattern or something that picks up on the red but perhaps in earthier tones. When adding colors, one of the most important things is to repeat them a few times throughout the space. A single red without any repetition is going to look off. It will look unintentional and look like a mistake. Another piece of advice I had was to do with lighting. I'm assuming that the aquarium or terrarium in the corner is lit as well, but if not, I'd consider adding a lamp somewhere in that corner as it is looking quite dark. I can see that there are already overhead lights, but this won't be that pleasant at night. Another small thing I noticed is that there is a difference in drop between the sheer and blockout curtains, which makes them look off in my opinion, especially when completely closed. The sheer curtains are puddling slightly while the blockout curtains just touch the floor. It will be quite a bit of work to fix this up, but also just hemming the sheer curtains a tiny bit or finding a way to fix the top so they end up having the same drop as the blockout curtains. If you haven't already, definitely check out the first episode of our Design Dilemma series. In that episode, we looked at narrow dining rooms, tricky living room layouts, and how to work around an awkward nook. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.